Um, and we are ready to go whenever you are.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order at 9:32 a.m. Excuse me, I get a phone call right when I don't. There we go. My name is Ben Meza. I'm a chair of the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture Public Art Committee. We are going to do a quick roll call to confirm committee member attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Commissioner Jason Wooper.
Present.
Linda Caballero Sotelo. Anthony Graham.
Present.
Melinda Guillen.
Present.
Larry Herzog. Anyung Park.
Present.
Commissioner Doreen Shoburn. Tiffany Wei Ying Bears.
Present.
Thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is Commission for Arts and Culture staff, including Chief of Civic Art Strategist Christine Jones, Senior Public Art Manager Chuck Miller, and Civic Art Project Manager Laura Bullock, as well as representatives from the City Attorney's Office. Before we get into today's agenda, I'm going to call on Chuck Miller to run down some of the guidelines for today's meeting.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, committee members. As you've noticed, we are conducting this meeting as a Zoom webinar. In an effort to provide greater accessibility, members of the public may join the meeting as webinar attendees. In order to provide virtual non-agenda and agenda comment in real time. As a refresher, please note the buttons on the control bar at the bottom of the Zoom window. The camera icon is to activate your video. The microphone is to mute and unmute. Please remember to stay muted when you're not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. You also see the chat window button. Please keep the chat window open at all times as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. We do recognize that there is a hand raising function. However, we request that you type speak in the chat window for the record, and the chair will acknowledge requests in order. When wanting to make a motion, second a motion, or participate in a discussion, please type speak in the chat box, and Chair Meza will call on you in the order entered. Please refrain from using the meeting chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act. Thank you. Back to you, Commissioner Meza.
Thank you, Chuck. We will now move to non-agenda public comment. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via web form, accessible through the agenda and commission's website. Members of the public may also join this meeting as webinar attendees. If members of the public have submitted comments in writing via the web form, staff will read aloud public comments submitted per city comment protocol. I will call on Chuck now to read aloud any non-agenda public comment or to call on any attendees who would like to provide comment. Chuck?
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. There was no web form public comment received, and I'm seeing no members of the public in attendance. I would note for the record, however, that Larry Herzog, Linda Sotelo, and Doreen Schoenbrum have joined the meeting.
Great. Okay, commission business. I will report that the special commission meeting convened this past January 27th. The panelists for the Bayer Park Public Art Project and Here Comes the Neighborhood Encanto were recommended by the full commission and approved. We look forward to seeing those projects begin to roll out this spring. Once again, thank you for your continued flexibility and commitment as we continue with remote meetings. Okay, now we have action item. Chuck, please read any public comment.
There is no public
Okay.
comment for this item. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the January 8th, 2021 meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are? If you do, please type speak on the chat window. And when I call on you, verbally state your name and make a motion. Let's see. On you.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Tiffany.
I second.
Thank you. Okay. Now that we have a second, is there any discussion? Okay. Now we'll take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Remember that you do not need to have been present at the October meeting to vote or discuss. I guess I should say January meeting. Commissioner Jason Whooper.
Yay.
Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Yay.
Anthony Graham.
Yay.
Melinda Guillen.
Yay.
Larry Herzog.
Yay.
Onyum Park.
Yay.
Commissioner Doreen Schoenburn. Okay. Tiffany Wei-Ying Bears.
Yay.
And my vote is a yay. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Would that be for the next item on the agenda, Commissioner?
Oh, I'm
Mesa?
sorry. Okay, so my vote is a yay. And now we have a presentation for the schematic artwork proposal for Fairmount Avenue Fire Station by Susan Logorecki. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Mesa. There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. Now I would like to call on Laura to provide an overview of the project and introduce Susan to provide the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Mesa. So I just want to begin by reminding everyone a little bit about the process and where we are and what your role as the Public Art Committee is at this stage in the process of developing an artwork proposal. So we are currently at the stage of where the artist creates an artwork proposal. So we've procured the artist, she's gathered research, created her preliminary idea, and then now she has created a schematic artwork proposal, which you will see today, and you will provide input. And so your role today is to provide feedback to Susan on her schematic artwork proposal. So this is just a map, just kind of orienting you with where the Fairmount Avenue Fire Station will be located. It's kind of in the midst of the Ridgeview, Webster, as well as City Heights and Choyas Creek neighborhoods, indicated by the little red marker that you see there next to the 805 and the 94 freeways, or nestled in that corner. And then here's a close-up of the actual site. So it will be sort of on the corner of 47th Street and Fairmount Avenue. And with that, I will let Susan share her screen to give you her presentation.
Thanks, Laura.
I'm trying to unshare. Thank you.
Echo. Oh,
Okay. I think we got it here. Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to share the update for the Fairmount Avenue Fire Station artwork design. So there's still 3 artworks in the locations previously discussed. There's one on the facade of Fairmount Avenue, one on the facade of 47th Street, and then one in the entryway as well. And they're still all going to be fabricated at this point with porcelain enamel on steel. So that part of the project is the same. There are some changes, and I'm going to describe that to you. So when we last met, this was the design that I was proposing for the Fairmount Avenue side of the building. There were some concerns that the design was not legible from the street, that it was maybe too detailed, and there were other concerns that the houses depicted maybe weren't inclusive of all the neighborhoods being served. And so I took that feedback in, and I actually redesigned this piece for this exterior. So this is what it looked like previously. And here's what it looks like now. So I simplified the houses and then created this color shift that goes from the bottom of the piece to the top. The rooftops will be kind of gray and beige at the bottom, and will metamorphosize into warm pinks at the top. The colors of the lawns will go from these kind of golden yellows into a deep emerald greens at the top. And so for me, these color shifts really create a harmonious rhythm in the design that it was lacking before. The areas around the houses will still link together to form the shape of a ladder. And here's how it looks on the facade of the building. The art footprint remains the same. It's going to be about 35 feet tall and 4.5 feet wide. So I think now, if it's seen from a distance, the viewer will really actually see the houses a lot more clearly. And even if they don't, they will see this color shift and it will engage the eye. The other change to this side is a frame around the exterior of the artwork. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as I move through this presentation. But it really, I think, helps create that ladder shape a little more clearly as well. And so here's a close-up of some of the panels. They're a lot more minimal. They actually have this kind of painterly quality to them too that I really like. You can see that a lot more clearly now. And so the other concern was that the houses depicted were not inclusive of the neighborhoods being served. It wasn't clear where the borders of the fire service area were. So Laura actually got a map from Chief Gaboret exactly where the defined borders were. And I took that map and I overlaid it onto a Google satellite map to really see what streets were, where the borders of the streets were. And then I took that map and I hand drew a border on a Google Maps that actually had the neighborhoods listed. So I knew exactly which neighborhoods were being included. The circles are areas that I actually used to create my new design. So it's sort of this collage of all the areas that are being served, the neighborhoods that are being served. There was a question whether City Heights was part of this, and the fire service area does dip into City Heights, not much, but you can see in the top portion it does. And so I really went back and studied that a lot more closely as well. So I'm really happy with the progression of this design, and I'm really appreciative for the input that you all gave me last time. So this is the 47th Street side artwork. This is unchanged. This is will still be a horizontal piece on the side of the building to the right of the fire station, garage doors above the front door. And it's going to depict the Choyas Creek trailhead, which is really important to the community, that natural setting. And it will have sort of this green, yellow, and pinky beige palette, and will be visible from the street and people approaching the station. And like the piece on the Fairmount Avenue side, the negative space around the rectangles will form this ladder shape as well. And so there's a frame around this piece as well, as you can see, to actually accent the ladder shape more clearly. A little bit about the framing. We had a meeting with the architects and they agreed to build and install the frames. And we talked about the materials being used being the same materials that are actually on the facade of the building. So that'll be integrated into the architecture. And then also the maintenance requirements would be, there wouldn't be any because it would probably be anodized aluminum where the paint is actually baked into the metal. So there isn't this question of having to repaint it all the time and things like that. And so that's sort of moving forward as well. The third artwork is in the entryway area, and this will be perpendicular to the front door. This piece will be one continuous image depicting homes along Choyas Creek and the natural setting of the creek and hiking trails as well. So just to reiterate, the first image, the Fairmount Avenue piece, will be depicting the community. The 47th Street side is depicting the natural setting, and this is sort of a marriage of the two, of the natural setting and the homes. And this artwork is about 3 feet tall by 17 feet long. Here's a close-up of that. And so this one will be framed sort of like a painting, which I really like that idea as well. Just to show you a few samples from the fabricator. Windsor Fireform will be fabricating the porcelain enamel panels. This is the piece that they did, and I chose this piece to really show off that kind of painterly quality. I remember there was a question last time about whether the materials would be translatable in the porcelain enamel, and they actually can do that. So I wanted to show this sample. And this is Liechtenstein in Times Square. They fabricated this piece in 2007, I think. And just showing this piece to show off the vibrant colors of what's possible with this material, as well as, this is obviously like one of the most heavily trafficked places in the world, probably. So, what this material can stand up to as well. This last sample is probably the closest to what I'm doing. It's on the facade of a building. It has a frame around it. So I thought this would be great to include. Bright colors. So just a little bit about how the panels are going to be mounted on the side of the building. There will have an invisible steel frame behind the image. Think of a shoebox lid, and the graphic will wrap around the side, so it'll be sort of seamless. And there'll be laminated cement backer boards behind each porcelain enamel piece. And then there'll be these L brackets here. This is the wall here, and this is the front of the artwork. So these L brackets go into the wall, the piece is slipped on top, and then a screw goes into the top and bottom of these pieces. And the architects have this drawing as well, so they are aware of how the artwork is going to be installed, and we've talked about that. The fabricator's providing everything except for the wall anchors, and the architects are aware of that as well. A little bit about lighting. We discussed that with the architects, and they suggested strip lighting on the insides of the frames that they're going to be building, that would actually put the most light on the artwork and cut down on light pollution. They are going to install and supply the lighting. They also suggested that the lighting have dimmers on them in order to be within the required limits of the lighting for the area, so they could turn them down if necessary. And they are checking with their lighting engineer on the best options for lighting at this point. And one last item, maintenance. Routine maintenance will just be a periodic washing with soap and water. Porcelain enamel is one of the most durable materials in the world, and it's also known for resisting UV damage. The fabricator does offer a 25-year warranty on perceptible fading. They've never had any projects come back, and they've had things hanging for over 30 years. They also do a lot of signage in national parks and train stations and subway stations. And they were telling me that recently they had a forest fire burn through an area where they had signage up and it was totally untouched. So just very durable material. And I feel really positive that it'll look like we want it to look for a very long time. So I think that's it. If anyone has questions.
Thank you, Susan. Ben, I think you're muted.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm talking away here and nobody's hearing me. I just want to say that I think it's a really beautiful scheme. I like the metaphor of the ladder and then addressing the different regions of the neighborhood. And I'm glad you're working with the architects to mount this series of panels in a very durable way, and that you have thought about maintenance as well. So I think it's a very nice scheme.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Larry?
Yes, I wanted to second Ben's applause of the painterly feeling in your art. I really like it. I like the ladder metaphor. I like everything. I have one question though, sorry. On the first panel on Fairmount Avenue, the one that's showing right now, I'm just wondering about the sort of metaphor of a house with a lawn in the 21st century where water is such a big issue in Southern California. And I wonder if there was any way you could put some imagery in there that would suggest xeriscaping rather than a green lawn, which is really kind of a 20th century image. And really in the 21st century, houses are moving toward other alternative ways of surrounding the space around the home, so that that green image feels a little bit like it could be perhaps something could be added to just give that little hint at the future.
Okay, yeah, like some type of texture maybe, or something like that, like
something that shows rocks or something,
right? Xeriscaping
to grass, as and it could be even southwestern with adding some color, some red volcanic looking rock or something in there, even just like a dry bed stream or some hint at the idea that some houses are considering these alternatives given the water shortages we face.
Right.
Not a huge deal, but everything else is so lovely, and you're really focusing a lot on the Choyas Creek. So you're obviously, nature is very important to your artwork. So I just thought that might help kind of bring it up to this idea of resilience and sustainability that's so critical in the 21st century.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay. All right. So I'm going to then move on. Thank you very much, Susan, for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you all for your time.
Now is our opportunity to provide Susan with feedback, which we did. And we, again, thank you. And Laura, can you provide an overview of the next steps for this project?
Yes, thank you. So after collecting this feedback, Susan will also have her next public engagement event, which will be an artist open house, which we'll have a slide for this later in the presentation, but it will be on February 27th on Saturday, during which she'll get more feedback from the public on this proposal. And after that, she will take the comments she received here, as well as through her research and comments and feedback she gets from that event to develop her final artwork proposal. And then after that is designed, then you guys will see it one more time and have another kind of opportunity to view it. And then after that, hopefully it will move on to the fabrication stage and then be realized eventually. So thank you very much for your feedback today.
Okay. Next item is presentation for artwork in private development. Chuck, is there any public comment?
There is no public comment for,
Okay.
or I do see a member of the public in the attendees. So I will ask if there's any comment. If you'd like to provide comment for this agenda item, please press the hand raise button now. Okay, seeing none.
Okay. So let me get back. Okay. I would like to call on Laura now to provide the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, guys, so today I'm just going to give you a little short presentation on artwork in private development, which is a part of what we work on that we don't usually talk about in our meetings for various reasons. So I'm just reminding you of this facet of the department that goes on. It goes on outside of 2% CIP projects and outside of department initiated projects, which are the projects that you guys are really involved in. So for these, I just wanted to kind of highlight some recent projects and just kind of some standout projects as well. So here's a slide that just kind of grounds what this is. So the Art in Private Development Program is often referred to as the Civic Enhancement Program or just Civic Enhancement, which gets kind of confusing because, you know, artwork in any kind of instance is a civic enhancement of sorts, but officially it's artwork in private development. So this requires certain non-residential development projects to meet the city's civic enhancement allocation requirement as stipulated in the municipal code. So the civic enhancement is a city program in which we work with developers in order to help them meet this municipal ordinance. So developers have three choices to meet this ordinance. So the first is that they may opt to spend 1% of the total building valuation or project budget for artwork on premises. Or the second option is to spend 1% for space for cultural use on the premises. And then the last option is to pay an in lieu fee, which is half of 1% of the total building valuation or project budget. So most developers choose the 1% artwork on premises option, and a close second would be the 0.5% in lieu fee, which gets deposited into the Public Art Fund. And the Public Art Fund, you guys are familiar with because that money is what's used to fund department initiated projects such as the Presidio project or Park Social or Here Comes the Neighborhood. So moving on. So here are just some highlights of the 1% artwork on premises projects. Here's just another slide, just kind of summing up kind of what I said. So those are the three options again. So here is an artist that probably most, if not all of you have heard of before or maybe know. So this is a project by Jenny Holzer that was put on Qualcomm Properties. And the budget for this artwork was, you can see right there, $616,112. And I'll just give a little bit of like, who is Jenny Holzer? So she's an American neo-conceptual artist. She's known for her LED artworks, text-based LED artworks. So this project actually, it moves and flashes and the words change. She is based in Hoosick, New York, and she belongs to a feminist branch of a generation of artists that emerged around 1980. Other female contemporaries would be Barbara Kruger, Cindy Sherman, Louise Lawler, for example. And yeah, so this is a pretty exciting project. So all of these projects I do want to mention are publicly accessible. So if you wanted to go see any of these projects, you could go to the site and check them out. Okay, so here is another one. So the developer for this project is Kilroy. The artist is Andy Davis. So he is a San Diego-based artist. He lives in Leucadia, and he's really known for his surf. His artwork featuring surf motifs. He's collaborated with like Billabong and Roxy, and he's done the Surfrider Foundation, he's done some collaborations with them, and he's illustrated films by Thomas Campbell as well. So here are some murals. He designed 4 murals for this project. So they're on the parking structure. So you can see their titles here, Del Mar Days. So it's right off of the Del Mar Heights exit off of the 5 if you're going north from central San Diego. And then here they are realized. So the previous slide was the plan, and here they are after they've been painted. And here's another project, very different in medium and scale. So this is by a Texas-based artist named Beverly Penn at the Cart Hotel downtown. So project budget around $300,000. And it's a 3-dimensional sculptural object that is kind of a collage of natural elements such as leaves. Part of the project is also the pavement here, where you can see different indigenous plants. And then the side view, it's kind of, it peeks out from that wall. Okay, so another one, this is also by a local San Diego artist, Matt Torrens, and his work focuses on issues of sustainability. He repurposes driftwood and creates sculptures from that. So this is one of those. It's a large scale whale sculpture called Drifter. And this is actually right across the street from the previous project. So this developer is DSRG, and the project budget is a little under 100,000. So here it is. You can kind of get a sense of scale here. And I think in the background of this image, you can kind of see the building where the previous project was. So they're in dialogue if you want to check them out. Okay, so here is a more recent project, kind of one of the most recent projects that's been completed. These projects take, as with like other CIP projects, 2% projects, department initiated projects, they take quite a while to realize. So we have several that are in process right now that we're excited about, but this is kind of one of the most recent ones that's been realized. So it's downtown at Park and Market. Holland Partner Group is the developer, and the budget is a little over $100,000. And there were several artworks that were part of this 1% budget. So that is also an option. The 1% can be allotted for several different artists. It doesn't have to be one artist. So these artists are muralists. So we have Rafael Lopez, who one thing, I don't know if you would know him from this, but he did do illustrations for Sonia Sotomayor's children's book. And here's another. So this is just right across from that other artwork. You can see that other artwork reflected in the glass in this one. So this is by Joel Sotelo. And then the third artist from this project is Tammy Matthews. So this is an artwork made from metal screens. These are two kind of different artworks that are across from each other. Okay, so this is another project. So this one that I'm showing you has not been realized. So there are different steps of approval, just like all of the other projects that you guys give feedback on. So it's already kind of reached a certain benchmark, and now it's kind of continuing to be developed, but hasn't been fully realized. But this project is interesting because it has artworks of different media involved in it. So the budget, $340,000. Kilroy again as the developer. The artists are Paul Wacker's Pander Design Company, Bearcat Kesver, and Bumblebee Loves You. So there will be this mural, light work, neon work. Another mural. The green is just highlighting where the artwork is. It says hey. And then this is an artwork that will be viewable from the street, but it's actually within a stairwell. So it's meant to kind of draw the passerby into the building. So again, these are all publicly accessible. That's one of the requirements of this artwork. So if you want to check it out, it's downtown. Here's another one. This is the Bumblebee Loves You mural. And then in your orientation to the Public Art Committee, you probably saw the next few works. So just highlighting these again as part of this program. So this is an artwork by Lisa Shermer that's on the Hotel Indigo. And the budget for this one is almost $150,000. And Lisa Shermer is a teacher, painter, designer, and public artist, and she describes her work as embracing traditional Renaissance values, and she incorporates these Renaissance ideas with contemporary design. So she's a Point Loma resident, so again, a local San Diego artist. A lot of the developers try to work with local artists when possible. Here's another beloved San Diego artist, Philip Schultz Ritterman, known for his photographic works of the natural landscape and also built environment. So this is on the Mission Hills Bonds on Washington, off of Washington. The budget is $114,669, and MCG Architecture is the developer. So yeah, you might have seen Ritterman's work. He had a show at the Museum of Photographic Arts in San Diego. He also has work in MoMA in New York. So pretty well-known San Diego artist. And then this is an artwork by Christopher Puzio. And he is based in San Diego, primarily works with metal. He also is a professor of the I'm blanking, the Woodbury School of Architecture, and also USD here in San Diego. And this work is on the Hilton Harborview Hotel. And he was featured in the MCASD's Here Not There show, which I had the honor of working on with curator Lucia San Roman when she was here. So that concludes the presentation of the civic enhancement projects, but we just thought it would be interesting for you guys to just kind of see some artwork that, we don't really, engage with in the same way, but that's going on within the city. So if you are interested in seeing any of those, once again, publicly accessible, you can check them out. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Laura, for your presentation. I will now ask if any committee members have any questions or comments. Let's see. Okay. then we move along here. If I can get this here. Okay. Again, thank you for your presentation. Moving on to reports. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing, and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment on this item.
Thank you, Ben. There was no comments submitted in writing. I'll ask if members of the public in attendance would like to provide comment for this item. Please use the hand raising function now. Seeing none, back to you, Commissioner Mesa.
Thank you. Now I would like to call on Christine to provide the staff reports.
Thank you, Commissioner Mesa. So we just have a few staff reports today. So first off, we're really excited to officially accession 2 works in the city's collection. So 2 new 2% for art projects. Fences are down and they are officially in the city's collection. I'm going to ask Chuck to just give us a few, sound bites about the projects. And also we have 2 artist open house coming up we're going to tell you about. So I'm going to hand it back over to Chuck to brief you on both of these things.
Thank you, Christine. And as we've been sort of hinting at in previous meetings, the Public Art Incorporated with Fire Station 50 in North University City, to be specific, is now officially accessioned and open to the public and is visible. And this is artwork that is incorporated in a brand new fire station that is on Nobel Drive, just west of the 805 freeway, and kind of in between Nobel Drive and Rose Canyon, behind the fire station. And so this project titled Rose Canyon by artist Susan Zocola, very much inspired by the canyon topography and landscape that the fire station sits adjacent to. So it's a facade, kind of a relief facade. The water jet kind of sort of copper tinted element references the topography of the canyon, and the relief element, which is kind of a blue patinized aluminum, references the water courses, the 3-dimensional elements on the facade referencing the water courses of the canyon. And so we're proud that we've seen this project through and it is now kind of officially open. So I do encourage you to head up to North University City and do a drive-by at very least, and check it out for yourself when you have a chance. And so, let's see. Lara, do you have those updated slides by any chance for this one? I
just plopped this one in. I don't have any images of this project.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those were the slides that I had sent you previous, the slides that were attached to. Okay,
sorry,
there we
yes.
go. Thank you, Lara. So photographic rendition. We have sort of hinted at this one being complete as well, but the fence is down and the facility is open as well. The new Choyas Water Operations facility in Oak Park. So that's kind of East San Diego, on College Grove Drive, kind of between San Diego and Lemon Grove area, just north of the 94 freeway. Ebb and Flow by artist Rob Lay, and I've described this in meetings past, but this one you can catch by a drive-by, or now you can drive into the facility and kind of park in front and see it for yourself. Kind of a monumental sculpture referencing the kind of laminar flow of water made from hand-turned aluminum cones, if you will, that have been coated in a kind of a color scheme referencing the color coding of water infrastructure piping. So do go and check out Rob Lay's Ebb and Flow when you have a chance as well. So next, as mentioned, we have a couple kind of virtual artist open houses coming up. If you recall from our December meeting, we saw artist Kate Clark's schematic proposal for the Mira Mesa Community Park project. We will be hosting a virtual open house in the evening of Thursday, February 18th. So details about that will be forthcoming. Hopefully within the day, you should receive an email about details for that. The virtual artist open house format will sort of be a week prior to the actual meeting. We'll be releasing a pre-recorded presentation that folks can take a look at prior to jumping into a kind of virtual Q&A session with the artist, where the artist will be prepared to share images and kind of talk about the proposal further. So in lieu of being able to meet with everybody in person, this is kind of how we'll be approaching the artist open houses for this and Susan Logaretzi, the Fairmount Avenue Fire Station. Now that Susan has had the opportunity to get some feedback from you on her schematic proposal, we'll be hosting a virtual artist open house for this project on Saturday, February 27th. So the details for that will be forthcoming very soon as well. And it will be in a similar format to Kate's coming up in the next couple weeks. So I think that is it for staff report updates right now. I'll hand it back to Christine if she would like to add anything, or if not, back to you, Commissioner Meza.
Thanks, Chuck. I think that really concludes our staff reports today. Pretty exciting to see some artworks really come to fruition after so many years in development. So it's always a big milestone for us, and I hope you can appreciate it too, that these public art projects are long-term coming, and really to be able to actually see them from conceptualization to realization is incredibly exciting. So please do take a time to go see them in person. And also, if you're interested, please come to the artist open houses. Artists are always really interested in getting feedback and having those dialogues with communities and public, and your participation or observation of those is welcome. So highly encourage you to come to those as well. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Commissioner Mesa.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for the presentation, Chuck, as well. And it's really exciting to see the initial concepts from the artists at a point in time and then see them realized. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to experience. And it looks like there are many more coming in that are in the works. So thank you, everybody. Our next meeting will be Friday, March 5th, and have a wonderful weekend. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a good weekend.
You too.
That was
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.